Hello, hello, hello. Denise Fleck, the Pet Safety Crusader here. Anybody out there today? We're having a little connectivity issues, so I'm looking to see if anybody's out there listening to me before I begin my whole little spiel. Hey, Deborah, glad to see you're here. Well, what I want to talk about today is CBD, kind of the ABCs of CBD. And I want to bring on my friend, my good buddy, Dave Merrick of Merrick Wellness. So we're just waiting for him to join in here. We're going to give it a go. I think, Deborah, you were around for our test and we finally had it figured out. But now we're trying to make the real thing happen here. So let me keep clicking these buttons for just a moment and we will get started very soon. La da 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 da. I would sing and dance, but that's not my forte. Hey Dave, are you out there? I'm going to actually go on my computer at the same time here and see if we can see how to make this work, because we want to talk all about CBD for our pets and for us. Earlier this year at Cornell University, a double-blind study was done on dogs suffering from osteoarthritis. I sure did, Deborah. I sure did. Also, another review was done at Colorado State University on dogs with epilepsy. And you see, we're just doing a lot of testing these days on CBD and the effects it has on pets and people. Some of it's really fascinating in that all invertebrates, except for insects, have a endocannabinoid system, and that's what works sympathetically with the CBD oil. And the strange thing is, this endocannabinoid system that we all have was only discovered actually in the 1990s. So it's crazy, but new things are happening all the time, and I'm just excited to bring this here to you today. So as you can tell, I'm stalling here for a moment, just waiting for Dave. Hold on. Hopefully, we will make this connection happen very, very soon. La da 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 da. I'm trying to see. It's funny. I've never been on the phone, on Facebook, and on the computer, and I'm trying to see how all of this is working together here. So if you guys are watching this in the replay, just skip through for the first minute or two, and let's see. I think I have Dave here now. Just for a second. It looks like I'm adding him. We're just waiting for all the magic to happen. Then my little click. I'm just waiting for the screen to change. I see Dave's face. I don't think anybody else does though yet. Hmm. I don't know if he needs to accept my request. We're so close. We are so close. Do you have some kind of message to accept, Dave? Because I see you and I've clicked to add you now. This is our first official. Says I'm not getting, you haven't received an answer from you. So I'm going to send it again, send you an invite. And Dave, just accept my invite and we can get going. So like I told any of you else out there, especially if you're watching in the replay, you may want to just fast forward the first couple of minutes. But now we are here and we're official. And while Dave is getting right side up, I'm just going to repeat what I was telling you guys earlier, that we're going to be talking CBD for our pets and you. And earlier this year, researchers at Cornell University concluded a double-blind study on the effects of CBD oil on dogs suffering from osteoarthritis. There was a different review performed at Colorado State University, studying the effects of CBD oil on dogs with epilepsy. according to veterinarian Celeste Yarnell, who recently passed away, unfortunately. In cats, she said CBD oil can control pain, inflammation, arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, pancreatitis, feline idiopathic cystitis, feline lower urinary tract disease. The list goes on. Dr. Karen Becker, an integrative wellness veterinarian, says that when it comes to pain management, there's a significant amount of evidence that supports the use of CBD. So what is CBD? CBD is an acronym for cannabidiol. It's a natural occurring class of molecules that's found in a particular plant, the cannabis sativa. And what I want to do now to give you guys the best information possible is bring on my good buddy, the founder and CEO of Merrick Wellness, Dave Merrick. Dave, are you there? Can we hear you?
I hope so. Is
Yay!
it coming through?
And Deborah, who is watching right now, was in our practice session. So she's excited, I think, actually to see this work. She said, Dave, exclamation point. So I would love to, well, let's do a little of the fun stuff first. I mean, Dave and I have known each other for, gosh, a number of years now. Dave has been involved in doing things to help our pets thrive for probably a couple of decades, huh?
Oh, at least. In fact, I grew up in animal health. My dad is veterinarian, and my grandfather and his brothers all practice veterinary medicine. In fact, my grandfather's practice in Chicago was honored as one of the 5 longest existing animal hospitals in the United States. So, and
Wow.
he established that back in 1936. So
that's amazing.
If you live in Chicago, you can still go to Merrick Animal Hospital in Brookfield.
Well, so it's pretty much veterinary studies are in your blood, basically.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is. And as a kid, we had to work at the animal hospital every day after school. Doing kennels, cleanup work, that type. And also back then there weren't the emergency clinics. So my brothers and I took turns waking up in the middle of the night and helping my dad with the, which were typically like a hit by car or a cesarean section, those type of things. And, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, I got to get up. But, as an adult, you think back and they were just fantastic memories.
Yeah, really great opportunities and to learn so much about different aspects of animal health. And you had an amazing product on the market for many years that certainly is what brought us together. I actually have here, whoops, if I can let it see, Nutrix, which really helped with cognitive health on our older pets. And I was honored because this is what brought us together, that beautiful, gorgeous black lab. His name was Mr. Rico. He was my love bug, who I actually only adopted when he was in his 9th or 10th year of life, and he lived to be 15 and a half, and he really thrived mentally because he was taking Nutrix. But Dave saw a picture of Mr. Rico, and it reminded him of a dog you had named Bear, right?
That's right. Yep. They were obviously they're twin sons of different mothers. It is amazing. When how you see Mr. Rico, I see Mr. Rico, but in my heart I say, oh, there's Bear Dog. So it's I know exactly how you feel when you see that photo. So it's really cool.
And I mean, it's amazing how animals bring people together, because I guess if we're connected with our souls to these animals, we know we have something in common too. And Dave and I have remained in touch. He wrote the foreword for my book, The Autumn and Winter of Your Pet, Make Those Senior Years Golden. And the reason he's here is the way I started off this Facebook Live. Hey, Bernadine, nice to see you. Bernadine was in Dubai, but I think she's now in the States. So we're semi-international today, Dave.
Well, maybe it's getting to be summer in Dubai, and then she comes to cooler weather in Florida.
There you go. Exactly. But what we're here talking about today is CBD and your new products. I hope everybody can see these. We have it for large breeds and smaller breeds, but this is also something for humans. And I'd love if you'd explain to everybody. There you go. And you know what? I'm going to take a hit myself while we're doing this. That's legal, isn't it? Of course it is. It's hemp oil. But just to show people that, it doesn't taste bad, and then I'm hoping it'll help me with my arthritis too. And while I'm doing this, I'd like you to explain a little bit about the difference between hemp, CBD, and marijuana.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad to. In fact, I gave a talk yesterday at a veterinary practice, and it's interesting that, there is a lot of information out there right now. But really, when you're looking at hemp, marijuana, the plant, etc., it's really about the language that people are using, the what I like to call the nomenclature. Um, the plant is a sativa plant, and really what determines it as hemp versus marijuana is specifically the amount of THC in the product. So if it has THC in the leafy parts, it's classified as marijuana. If it has, no THC or less than 0.3% THC, then it's classified as hemp.
And just let me
And
stop you for a minute for everybody listening. THC is the part that actually gives that signature high, right?
right, right. And this is the interesting thing. People are saying that THC is the psychoactive use of it. And I think for your audience, a better way to look at it is it's the intoxicating, because psychoactive really means anything that can affect the brain. And CBD is neuroprotective, and so it affects the brain. It has anti-anxiety properties, and by design, then it's psychoactive. So a better way to look at it is it's non-intoxicating. So what they've done is, in the United States today, you've got agriculturally three efforts. You have the marijuana plant that's grown specifically to have the THC in it for those medical benefits that THC has, which are many, as well as a combination with CBDs. And then, of course, there's the recreational part of it. And that's something that has been accepted by many people. No different to some people than someone having a great beer or a very nice glass of wine, et cetera, et cetera. So that you have that combination. The second combination, which we've in Wisconsin here, we were the United States leader in hemp production during World War II. In fact, in our newspapers, they advertised to the farmers of Wisconsin, be patriotic, grow hemp. And one of the things hemp does, besides having great cloth, oils, the list goes on and on, it absolutely makes the best rope for seagoing vessels. So for all those Navy ships out there, by far the best rope available for them, whether it's natural or synthetic, is hemp. It is a fantastic product for those type of things. And so that you have those two. And then now, in the last 10 years, there's been a big push into the plant that contains higher and higher amounts of the cannabinoids, CBDs, which is CBD, CBN, CBAs, etc. There are 22 major these cannabinoids that have benefit. And I think everyone that's listening today is very familiar with the benefits of CBD with anti-seizures. And the story that had made the news a lot is with children that had uncontrolled seizures, and basically, many of them passed away by the age of 3 or even younger. And people were moving to states like Colorado and Oregon, Washington, California, places where medical cannabis was available specifically to help their children. And one of the products which can be purchased today, and these folks were the main developers of the products for children, was Charlotte's Web. And Charlotte's Web, they had really worked hard with the genetics of getting a higher amount of CBD per plant. And so they were one of the first to develop it. On the prescription side, the FDA regulated type, back in August, GW Pharma got the approval for the first CBD product indicated for seizures. And that product is isolate and requires very, very high dosing. So that's your three main areas of the marijuana plant. The hemp plant, all kind of the same. Really the difference is, does it have THC? Does it have, very little CBD or anything, but it's mainly just for the agricultural, the manufacturing processes. And then you have the plant that's been genetically not enhanced, but they basically planted better and better plants to have higher amounts and concentrations of the CBDs.
Got it. Well, and as the Pet Safety Crusader, obviously I want to put this out there that for our pets, we absolutely want to keep paws off marijuana, the edibles, anything, that does have the THC, but that the hemp is legal in all 50 states. And it's really something that's even compatible with some of the Western medicine that our pets may be taking. It might, enhance whatever their condition is, and make things better, correct? It's not like we have to do CBD oil or we put them on an anti-inflammatory.
Right. And this is a key thing, is that with CBD, there is no what they call an LD50, which is how high a dose do you have to go before it's lethal. Right now, there is no such thing on the CBDs. You will have sometimes with a way overload of it, lethargy, possibly loose stool, things like that. Where our pets get in trouble is generally when it has the THC in it. Now, the first thing to know is, let's say you're a person that uses marijuana recreationally with THC, and you're used to something. You, let's say, have one THC receptor in your brain. And when the difference is our dogs and our pets have 10 times as many. So what a person, and even if that person, let's say they were getting relief from a medical condition, let's say pain, etc., and their dog's in pain, and they said, well, hey, this works for me, it might work for my pet. No, because there are definite benefits of having some THC and CBDs, but that said, it really has to be under the guidance of a veterinary professional that is trained in that use, because it is not like a lot of things where, well, it's good for the person, it most likely would be good for the pet. Not true with THC cannabis. Like I said, just one of the things is that it's 10 times more potent in the same amount that you would have for a human as a dog. The second thing
Well,
is,
there's so many things about our dogs that are accelerated. I mean, just their whole lifespan is accelerated. Their olfactory, their sense of smell is accelerated beyond us too. So, the message is THC, paws off. But the hemp oil has just so many benefits. And tell us some of the things it can do. I mean, we talked a little bit about it being, for pain management or seizures, but there are other things as well, right?
Oh, there are. I had mentioned the reduction in anxieties. So you can have that with a dog that is normally anxious all day long, you know, every day, and you can start giving CBD, and the rule of thumb is go low, go slow. So 1 to 2 mgs per 10 pounds, starting out with, and then increasing that a little bit, maybe even double that to 2 to 3 mgs per 10 pounds, you know, after a couple weeks. And what pet owners have seen is their dogs are um, quite a bit less anxious. You can also do this in what they call situational anxiety. And a situational anxiety is you have a normal pet and they're just happy as can be, but suddenly the weather changes and they are sensitive to that rolling thunder coming through and et cetera, and that type of thing. So if you
Or
know
the
ahead of time,
fireworks at 4th of July, or
that's the big one. And especially with something where you can predict it as accurately as the fireworks coming on, you know, 9:30 at night on 4th of July, it's really good to start a couple days early and possibly even go, you know, double to even triple times what you've done on that day. If you could give them, you know, morning, mid-afternoon, and evening, that would be best.
Now,
So
for
that
some of
type of
us that
dosing.
aren't so metric system oriented, I mean, they come in bottles with droppers as opposed to 2 mgs. I mean, what can we say? Can we say a quarter dropper or half a dropper, or what do we want to tell people?
Yeah, and that's I'm glad you brought that point up. If everybody has, you know, all the good products I know about have one format as a tincture. No one's dropper is, you know, when you squeeze it and take a full dropper, it never fills the whole thing up.
No, I
I mean,
noticed that.
but that will be a full dropper. What that so right there, that's what they would say is a full dropper.
Okay.
And so on the directions for use, they'll generally say a full dropper is 4 mgs or a
Okay.
full dropper is 8 mgs. And if they do it by little drops where they're just dropping it like that,
Mhm.
all it would take you is 1 or 2 times to drop out, you know, 20 drops into a spoon or something like that, and then, you know, kind of measure how far uh, the dropper goes down, and then you'll have a very pretty accurate dosing on that.
Now, is it work best if you put it on your pet's food or if you actually just squirt it in their mouth?
The the best answer is I like to top dress it on food, but the scientific answer is you know, if you train your dog to go like this, put it under their tongue, then say, okay, now hold it for 20 seconds, which we
Well, I don't
know.
know if you noticed, but when I did it a minute ago, I did try to do that. And 20 seconds is a long time.
It is, and so what they've been doing is, and I know veterinary schools like Colorado State is one of them. They've been conducting science research to determine what gets actually into the bloodstream from a mucosal, from a in the mouth dose versus an oral dose into the stomach, etc. And what they're showing is that the tinctures are very effective even at an oral dose going through. It takes um, more time for the blood levels to get up there. And where they're going to be reducing that is with some of the new technology coming out, and this is one of the technologies Merrick Wellness will be taking advantage of, is nano technology in the CBD, and that will have a quicker absorption into the blood and into the body. Um, but all in all, it won't necessarily be more or less effective. It has just a different time period that it gets effective and then
Mm.
drops off. But in an 8-hour period, um, both will be very similar. So you'll still have a very good product with a full spectrum CBD tincture.
Wonderful. Now, once we get this, do we need to put it in the refrigerator? Do we just keep it in the cupboard?
No, some people feel more comfortable putting it in the refrigerator, and that's not bad. In fact, if anything, it could deaden any flavors. If the dog doesn't particularly like it, my Lola just eats everything up in her bowl. So I've had no issues with palatability or with anyone else that has taken it. You know,
No, and I've squirted
the,
it directly in Haiku's mouth, and he does it. And you've got it in coconut oil, which is also, wonderful for our pets too.
it is, and so the key on these bottles is on all the products is they're light sensitive, and that's why you see them either in an amber bottle. Some bottles come in a really dark blue, that type of thing. And the reason for that is to keep the light out from degrading it. But generally, the lifespan of these right now is about 1.5 to 2 years. So there should not be an issue of dating. It'll go quite some time.
Wonderful. Now, I want everybody to know your website. It's Merrick, Merrick wellness.com. And is that the best place to get this product if they want to give it a go?
Absolutely. Yep. The other thing I wanted to touch on is real quick. You mentioned the MCT coconut oil.
Mm-hmm.
There's three things that people will see. They'll see that. They'll see olive oil sometimes, pretty rarely now, and then hemp seed oil.
Right.
And a lot of products you'll see, let's say on Amazon, that say hemp oil. Are when you look at them, they will say things like 100% hemp seed oil. Hemp seed has no CBD in it. Hemp seed oil is a great antioxidant, an omega fatty acid. It's a very good product, and it makes a very good base for CBD. So I like it. But if your goal is to get CBDs, hemp seed oil has none. The reason why I chose the MCT coconut oil is Purina came out with a dog food called Bright Minds and NeuroCare.
Yeah.
And they actually had some information that was neuroprotective and was really good. The coconut oil was good for the brain, and that was one of their key ingredients was MCT. And so I know MCT does have some very robust benefits. That would be a good combination with CBD.
Wonderful. We have a question here wanting to know if you sell wholesale.
I can, yes, and email me at info@Merrick Wellness or dmerrick@merrickwellness.com.
Terrific. And I'll make sure that you guys get connected too, just in case, just as a follow-up. Awesome. Now, we have pictures of doggies here on the bottles. So I want to ask, is this okay for humans? Is this okay for kitty cats? Who else can use it? It's kind of like when you buy the frying pan in the store and it has a picture of a fried egg. Can you actually make a hamburger in it,
Right. Hey, and with my phone moving, you can tell this is the first time I've done this. So this is an important point. A lot of people will say things like, and let me mute that, please. And a lot of people will say things, yeah, they'll mention products like, and I'm going to do that one too. They'll say, make sure you get a dog-only product. You don't want a human product. When it's dealing with CBD oils, really CBD is CBD, and MCT oil is MCT oil. And so really, when it's not flavored, The only difference in that is the picture of the dog versus a picture of, let's say, me doing yoga, or something like that. Um, where I think people are intending to do this is that I would recommend, like, there is a product I'd like to introduce. I'm close to it, but it's this CBD full spectrum with this orange flavoring, kind of an orange crush, orange cream. Um, it's just very pleasant. And um, kidding aside, it's just really a nice product to take, and I think it would be a really nice on the line. But I don't have the information yet on the flavor base. Is it safe for dogs? So my advice is to always um, err to the side of caution. You know, I've tasted some of the bacon flavored and chicken flavored ones, and yeah, I don't know if there's, you know,
Well, that's it, because that is something I'm always professing to people, especially now as we're getting into spring. I know not so much in Wisconsin yet, but we've got fleas and ticks out, and I'm always telling people, make sure you know your pet's weight. Don't use dog preventative on a cat or vice versa. We don't want to mix things up, but this is a little different in that this is unflavored, and humans can try it too. The problem with some of the human ones, though, is maybe if they are putting flavors in, it's possible there could be artificial sweeteners or something that might not
right,
be good for dogs.
right, exactly. And unless they actually state, hey, we've tested this out, this is fine for your dog too. You know, one of the areas I do have a question into one of my equine friends, a specialist, and horses like peppermint. It's really interesting. If you have peppermint candy and you're around horses, you're going to be their best friend. Who would have
Interesting.
thought? I was thinking apple, maple, those type of
Yeah, I don't
things.
think
But
I don't think I knew that. No.
yeah, horses love peppermint. And what you'll find is a lot of the medications that have been made for them have a peppermint flavor base. And so my question would be, for the horses taking CBD, if they are doing that flavor base, is it horse approved? That type of thing. But in lieu of that, the unflavored products are fine.
Well,
Where
and you guys
where
saw
people
me
want,
taste this. It's very mild. I guess there's a grassy hint to it, but there's nothing strong. I would call it smooth. So it wasn't unpleasant to me, and it doesn't seem to be unpleasant to Haiku. We have another question here, Dave. Would it be possible to give it to cats and dogs before a flight? And how long does the calming effect last?
yeah, it is possible to give it to the your pet before flight. Um, I would do this if and I'm just going to talk if this was my dog or cat. If I could, I would give it about 4 or 5 hours beforehand, and then right before the flight, probably half an hour before the flight, because in the scientific sense, if you were to if you could dose the CBD 3 times a day, once every 8 hours, that would be bell curve wise the best. Um, but recommended dosing is really also based upon what people can really do. And most people, it's very difficult to come home at noon and do a dose, or come, at 2 o'clock, and etc. So I would do that, because there won't be an issue of a toxicity. If anything, there might be a little bit more sleepiness, but I even doubt that. But I would do that. I would do it 4 or 5 hours before, and then right before the flight.
And will it, I mean, it's one thing if you're taking a hop from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, but if you're going cross country or from New York to Hawaii or something, I mean, how long would it last, do you think?
Yeah,
The
generally
effects.
at least 8 hours.
Okay, yeah,
So
that's helpful. That's helpful.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, is there something we didn't touch on that you want to share or talk about or
Well, I think
clarify or?
just to sum up, the by far the best products available are full spectrum, and you can do a lower dose with full spectrum if you find that your pet is needing, 4 or 5 times what other people have said is recommended. It's probably an isolate, CBD only, and that's not a bad thing. Isolates also make some very good product, but uh, generally accepted now in the medical community, the veterinary medical specifically, full spectrum absolutely has a lot more benefits at a lower dose. So that's one. Um, I think the soft chews that have been available from companies like Under the Weather Pet or Elivet, they do a good job. So they both of those companies have had good veterinary research scientists and practitioners advising them, and I happen to know where they actually get their active, and they're good too. So those soft chews on some of the bigger companies are well, and just don't ever have any of your pets do any of the human edibles. So any of the brownies, the whatever it is, edibles
That
are
comes
not
up
good
in my
for a pet.
first aid classes all the time. My dog got into laced brownies. And I mean, that's a double whammy because not only are they dealing with the THC, we're dealing with the theobromine and the chocolate, and now there's the gummy bears and all different kinds of things like that.
Denise, you had talked about Mr. Rico. So Bear Dog was 120-pound German Shepherd Labrador. Looked, on and on. He was just phenomenal. One of my parents' friends are veterinarians from Germany, and they would come over each year to go to one of the major conferences and visit with my father and grandfather. And the tradition was they'd come to our home in Wisconsin, and we'd have this great big meal. And afterwards, they'd bring liqueur, chocolate, and schnapps. So they like to have schnapps afterwards and then enjoy liqueur chocolates. So after dinner, before we got to the liqueur chocolates, we all took a walk outside, blah, 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 got back, and Bear Dog
I see this coming.
Bear Dog figured out that he liked chocolate and liqueurs. and and luckily we had a bunch of veterinarians in the house to help his recovery. So they can, even when you don't think your pets will get to it, they're
Yeah.
pretty pricey sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got another question here I want to make sure we get before we sign off. Is your hemp farmed in Wisconsin?
My products right now, the products that I have online right now are hemp farmed in Colorado. Um, they are all organically grown. Right now, I all the ones that say organically grown actually do adhere to it. I just don't think the officiating body that gives you the stamp of approval and does it is allowed to yet. They may be. So you'll see some of those, but it is organic. And I am proud to say that the chief medical officer for where I get my CBD from is one of the most renowned experts in animal health for medical cannabis. And so Dr. Robert Silver is both a friend and as well as he's the chief medical officer for that company. And then the other area that I'd look at right now is in Kentucky. There's two of them that again, they're associated with the University of Kentucky, Department of Agriculture. They're one of the companies that have been in the forefront and really do it well. I did go to a Wisconsin hemp conference where I did meet some of the growers, and we are just getting our first crops. In fact, they were just harvested last fall. So Wisconsin in the CBD business is brand spanking new. So, but I have started the connections.
Awesome. Well, we're hoping it's going to have some, really powerful effects for our dogs and for us too. And it's okay for cats, right? Or not? Because I know like things like aromatherapies and essential oils, we have to be careful with cats.
Correct. It is. It is good for cats. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear on that. So please, everybody, check out Merrick, MERRICK wellness.com. You can email Dave with your other questions or, you know, your interests. I know we had some interest, whether it's available wholesale at info@merrickwellness.com. And I'm sure we're going to be doing this again and talking about maybe some new things coming out in the future. So thanks so much for joining us today, Dave. And you guys, the link to Merrick Wellness Facebook page will be on this post, and I'll make sure I also put up the website too, just so that you can get there easily and efficiently. And let us know how it's helping your dog with his aches and pains, with his seizures, with, I think it does gut health, brain health, skin health, so many things. And be like me, be giving it a try yourself too, because I'm to that age where things are starting to ache, and I'm hoping to see some good benefits. So thank you all for joining in. Thanks, Dave, as always, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Bye-bye for now.